I just wanted to start by sending condolences to the Pendleton family. It was really devastating to hear about Keith's unexpected passing, and just wanna send our thoughts to Tina, Brittany, Roxanne, and Hayden, and the entire Pendleton family. Keith has done a tremendous amount for this community, and I know will be sorely missed by all. And appreciate Melissa stepping up to set up something online where folks can donate to help support the family during this difficult time.
I'll put you from the email.
Well said. Yeah.
Thank you.
Amen.
Yeah.
And with that, we will move on to accepting the minutes of the December 3rd regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? In favor? Aye.
Wasn't able to attend, so 30 people, 100 people, what do you
There was
think?
around 25 people in
Good.
person and around 30 people online.
Great, great, okay.
Well, I have to say, I was surprised that there was a bigger turnout. And I would also say that the bottom line is a slightly improved Margaret J. Smith is what they're proposing doing. And as I said prior to this meeting, the thing that concerns me most is in the previous rendition here, the budget was 25 million, the over excess was 42 and a half.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time of my life doing cost estimates on capital projects. 50% off for mark is truly troubling. And the bottom line is, I have no reason to believe the same thing isn't going to happen again.
No.
And so what I think needs to happen here is we need to move ahead with whatever the plan is for the ferry as quickly as possible and get something in there, because nothing is getting cheaper
Right,
in
cost
this
keep
world.
rising, yeah. Interesting, good.
Any other comments, questions on ferry?
Just an out of character for myself moment. It did seem like the DOT had put a lot of effort into this thought, into the process of coming up with these designs. And whether they're on the money or not, no pun intended, is yet to be determined. Probably know how that's gonna go, but I should give credit where credit's due, that they did present a pretty good argument as to why we should go with the designs they put in front of us, and that was nice to see.
Yeah, it was nice to have them come out, to be willing to come out in person and
It
have the
really-
conversation.
It was, had to have been a tough thing for them to walk into, knowing our history with them, and for good reason. But credit where credit's due.
Should we, from you, write a thank you saying just that it was refreshing, compliment them on their points and the open dialogue, and we look forward to continuing that.
Yep, I'd be happy to do that.
I would just,
And we look forward to seeing things move forward as quickly as possible.
well, I hope that you would incorporate gently and politely the points I just made, which is that we hope, but don't have a lot of confidence that the estimate that they're coming up
Yeah.
with right now will be on, and that we need to move ahead with this with all deliberate speed, because it ain't gonna get any easier.
It's my opinion, but I think part of where they shot themselves in the foot last time is they thought that the money that they had would come in before they ever even contacted the designers and the planners. They went into it thinking this is a large sum of money that we will be able to do something with it. This time I have a little more faith because they already have the designer, they had it brought out, they have that estimate. that they didn't previously have. They went with it of, cool, let's see what we can do. And then it was, oh, no, we can't do any of that.
Hmm.
And so I do think that they came with a little bit more education this
I
time.
acknowledge that, but it's
Yeah.
the same design team and something like the same design. And come on,
No,
Yeah,
we all know what happens here.
I think it's a realistic concern as well. Maybe we could nudge, maybe we could find a way, if we can find a way to work that, excellently, we can, you know, encourage, obviously we have to encourage the conversation to continue. But maybe we can request sort of more regular updates directly to the select board versus through the advisory board. In an attempt to keep them a little more, you know, hold them to what we're asking. You know, we'd like to know if there's some hiccup with financing, we'd like to know sooner rather than later, or, you know what I'm saying? Find a way to have increased accountability to us.
Yeah, I mean, I know
in an
at one,
attempt to
one of the,
meet what we're saying.
one of the suggestions that DOT had, during the legislative session was actually requesting that, the advisory board be made up of a select board member instead of, somebody appointed by the select board with the intention of wanting to have decisions, people who could make the decision, speak on behalf of the town at the meeting. And I think, you know, there's some value to that, but I also think it's, there is a lot of value in having them present information and then be able to come back and have a thorough discussion, because I think it's difficult and unrealistic for any one of us to be able to speak, you know, sort of for the community without feedback and that kind of thing. Yeah, I will do my best to draft something that, with the goal of it being as positive as possible
Yeah.
and encouraging the, you know,
Yeah, I think,
the open communication.
recognizing the,
Cool.
what we'd like to see going forward, yeah.
you're here.
Basically,
Okay.
The only thing I will just say in repeating myself is time is of the essence.
Yeah.
That should be our message.
And they did want to know, or hear, I think, from people, if this is the same kind of letter before the end of December, or by the end of December.
I can do that.
Whoever said in the emails that I got, I don't know who originated, it was you, John, who said we need a detailed breakdown of the previous bid and the detailed breakdown on the estimate currently for this version. As the guy, they were both saying last night that, you know, we've reduced the scope, we've accommodated all of this, but do we have any confidence at this point? Do you and I have any confidence that the next bid they get is gonna be anywhere close to the money that's available? And I
They took
think-
off all the electrical, I mean, they took off all the,
Well, and that's great, but my eyes glazed over when they started talking about all the things they had taken out and what was in the original bid and what was in the original estimate of the bid.
Yeah, I mean, I can ask,
We just don't know, have that detail.
I can ask them for, to follow up with the details of their budget, and I think, you know, I know both Peter Wilcox and John King feel strongly about wanting to have something savings in the long term, because that is what's driving ferry ticket prices over the long term.
Absolutely, that's the case, but having said that, the money that is being spent on this project is coming from this federal grant, as I understand it. We can't even have a discussion about the overall economic reality of going to a all-electric system, because they're saying it's too expensive on the capital side to do that. And so, you know, this is just fine. my sense is, let's just get ahead, do it, and then work on this. Because I don't think we're gonna get anywhere with alternative. No matter how long-term this is gonna save the world by the carbon footprint and the cost of operations. All they're interested in is the initial capital cost and how that's being met.
Right, because the monies that are allocated to this are only allotted to that.
Exactly. So,
They can't, any state government can't commit next year's dollars or future dollars to any project. I mean, it's just, we're not allowed, because it's not in the budget.
I think John's and Peter's position on this is absolutely the right position, but I just don't think, I think it's dead in the water.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go anywhere.
I think this gives me enough to go on for drafting a letter.
There you go.
Well done.
Shut up.
That's why she's where she's at. That was well played.
Sea level rise update, just yesterday, GCA sent the 60% design. So I still need to send that out to the sea level rise committee. We ended up postponing our meeting in December because the design was going to be received after the meeting was over. So the only other update that I just wanted to put in that is part of the 60, now that we have the 60% design, part of the finalizing the budget is going to need to be recognizing any impacts to impacted properties, and that will likely need some negotiation from the town and landowners as we move forward. So I just wanted to give that update. I am anticipating that Janet and I would do that in consultation with Kristen Collins, but I just wanted to make sure that that felt comfortable to this group.
Yes, it's comfortable.
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent. And that won't happen until probably in the new year, so. Right. Anything on public safety garage or,
I was up there this morning. I mean, they're actually putting siding on it now. So, I mean, it looks like they're gonna be enclosing it pretty quickly if they can get that done, obviously with first any major snow, that's great. They're moving along nicely.
Great.
That's it.
questions? All right, hearing none, planning board meeting on. Like, oh, we passed that, so.
No, we don't. We actually have one on the 29th.
And harbor committee meeting this Thursday.
I'm curious if there was any update on the renovations.
Yes.
Thanks.
Sorry, I skipped right over that.
Fulfill you.
Go ahead.
So, meeting today on that. With Fred, our town manager, Lauren, Pete, and one other. What's that? Oh, Michael and
Yeah.
Laura.
Yeah.
Anyway, they, with the remaining dollars, which appears to be around 62 or 3,000-ish, there wasn't, so the two options available were, the training room and perhaps the kitchen revitalization, addressing a couple ADA issues that need to be, not including the front entrance that needs to be addressed, but that Fred was positive about, and Mert was not in the meeting, so we have to do that. Their drawings, they felt were not accurate, so from that meeting, they're gonna go in and do, now that they've made some addition, the initial phase one's done, they're gonna go in and measure everything out, and from that, they're gonna to create new drawings with option 1 or 2 to change the flow and stuff. And I thought it was a very positive meeting. What do you think? You were, yeah,
I was confused. They had a lot of different plans there.
It was, we don't have enough money for either, so, but here's a brand new concept, which was, I thought, out of the box, well thought out, and offered, us the ability to move something forward. But it was confusing because it was a lot direct. So they're gonna measure, get and bring back, and that'll be probably the first week or second week of January. Update, done.
Any questions?
Great.
Okay. Sorry, just getting into that. So we've
Skip
done
over me all the time.
the meetings, Janet, town manager's report.
So I've given you, September 9th, IMB committee minutes, October 2nd, housing committee minutes, November 10th, energy committee minutes, all by Carrie. A lot of pages there. Under correspondence, I have given you a December 15th email from the town attorney, Kristen Collins, regarding selling resident fare tickets, and she thinks that there's no issue with subsidizing the resident rate.
Jim, can I ask a clarification on that, just real fast? I know that this is, everyone's sick of me beating this, presumably now dead horse, but, I just am concerned that, is she understanding that what we're referring to are not homeowners on Islesboro? We are referring to a seasonal versus a full-time resident of Islesboro? Because the way I read this in terms of, the ferry service suggesting resident tickets, as far as I know, that discussion never entailed like a timeline or time span of residency. It was just, do you have a home in Islesboro? Do you not? Am I confused? Was there a time when this idea of doing a residential ticket?
I think you have to be a resident of the island. You have to have a driver's license showing or own property perhaps, if you don't have a driver's license, something.
Well, that's
But I think
two
that there-
different.
But
I think there would need to be a small group that works out the details of exactly what the definitions would need to be.
I just am genuinely concerned about this concept of taking taxpayer dollars for something that we are that limited access to. If I've said it before, if I pay my tax dollars into the system, I would expect that I would be able to reap the benefits of that system. And I don't know that.
So just on this topic, I think it would be helpful to have a discussion as a board about, I think if it's something that we wanted to continue to evaluate, I would suggest that the next step would be to ask a small group of people to do the work of kind of coming up with what would the recommendations be for who would be eligible, how it would work, what would be something that would work effectively with the town office personnel, kind of to come to us with a recommendation, and then with that recommendation, we would decide if that was something we wanted to include in the budget or not. And I guess, I know that we've had some real concerns, and so I guess my question is, does this group feel like it makes sense to ask a small group of people to do the work of putting those recommendations together? Or does it just feel like you have fundamental concerns about this as a project and it's not worth asking somebody to move forward, to continue thinking about it right now?
It seems widely supported. The concept seems widely supported by people in town based on that survey. As such, I think it's our job to look into it as much as we can, put out something to at least propose. I do have fundamental concerns about it. I rooted basically in this is the sentence that tripped me up, is that rate differentials such as proposed here have been upheld as long as there has been a rational basis for a rate difference. But again, I think that rate difference that she's presumably referring to is something that the company itself has set, right? Not that a town has taken money to then buy a box of tickets, to then cut a discount to resell said tickets.
The exact thing that you just said was what Van Note told John King that he could do. The town can buy what they want and do with what they want.
Sure.
So I don't know if that helps alleviate anything, and so it's not.
I mean,
that's where the basis of the thought came from, if I remember from a couple years ago
Sure.
with John King.
Right, it was mentioned.
You can do, and so they were releasing the obligation of trying to solve the problem by kicking it in a box to us.
I mean,
And so they,
I understand why the I can understand why it's widely supported. I personally would not take, in this sense, a somewhat flippant remark from a commissioner of a department who's attempting to, by the looks of it, shirk all responsibility for a program they oversee as legal advice.
Right.
I would say that, saying that we can buy it and do with it what we will, sure, but they're not thinking about where we're getting the money to buy it, they're not thinking about how we're determining who we give it to.
And in support of that, I think the survey that John created, thank you very much, it did not address the question of where the money was coming from. My problem with the whole proposal.
Not, the only time that they would reopen that conversation is in a new ferry tariff. I don't think that we want to request a new tariff. That the state consider a new tariff. And
Absolutely, but I don't mean to interrupt you, but I agree with you. I'm just saying, this feels like the thin end of the wedge.
right, no, the only, to me, and I honestly have very conflicted feelings, I'm not 100% behind it. I really am like just trying to figure out what is a process that we can come up with something to put forward to the community to decide, because I think it's very easy to say have wide support for something without understanding the price tag of it. And so I think we need to do the work to get the price tags to really give people a full picture of what it's going to cost in a very difficult year, potentially. So I think that is going to have a number of hurdles for it already. But I also think that there may be some value in going through the process to define for the state what residents look like. So, because they never had a resident versus non-resident rate. They had, different based on trying to capture that in a different way. And I think if we define something that we thought would be meaningful to support affordability on the island, that could help when a new tariff comes up to be able to really clearly point to some information about how it worked. That to me is like the value proposition potentially, but whether that, anyway.
That's great, and I support the idea of a small subcommittee to study this, but I had problems with what was proposed.
Okay.
Well, so my clarifying question a while back, I think we should continue down the path of trying to figure out what we can put toward the voters and put toward the town. We should probably have an information meeting about it prior to that. If we need to have a little committee get together, figure out real costs, let's do that. We owe it to our constituents to do what they clearly seem to be supportive of, regardless of my shortcoming or, second guesses about it. If
No, I
I'm
think
proven
you-
wrong, by all means.
No, I think you raised valid concerns that, we can ask, and we should ask, once they have all those definitions, I think that all of that needs to go back to the town attorney to,
Sure.
define.
next.
Yeah.
I say no. When this initially was brought to us, this was before we all got ambushed by Waldo County and the enormous rates that are going to be coming through. It is likely going to increase the mill by a half, if not a full point. I think that we are already going to, the citizens and our constituents are already going to get hammered. If I did not know the Waldo County budget and their flippant behavior about the budget today, yes, I would be all about supporting this because I want to bring support to the community. Knowing how much the mill rate is going to affect everybody's taxes, I cannot in good faith even entertain researching something that's going to potentially add even more. I can't. And so I think that at this point, we should table it until, one, we figure out what Waldo County is doing. I briefly mentioned earlier, they had an impromptu meeting on Monday. The entire tone that I took from the meeting was they defended this budget. And it is, to me, it is terrifying that if they're going to try to put this through to all of the towns. I think that our focus right now needs to be on our budget, the money that potentially has to go to Waldo County, and what is going to be considered, like, what do we have to keep functioning without extras? That's my opinion on it, but I do not, in good conscience, think that we can move forward at this time. And I was all for it. I was on the committee to do it.
I think I would like to explore it further. I don't think we table it. I think we should put a committee together, small, quickly do some analysis. Yes, your logic is good, but
Feels reasonable to me. Cause I do have real concerns about adding something like $100,000 to the budget for something like this, but I agree. I think putting a little bit of time, asking somebody to put a little bit of time into it could, help us flesh out exactly why it's to say yes or why to say no.
The question really is, which I think committee could study, is this the most effective way to subsidize people who need subsidy to increase access to the money? And I think the jury is still out.
that's good.
And all,
Right, I hate to say it, I hate to be that voice, but like, ourselves for the budget cycle. And I don't think so therefore, like, I'm willing to say, let's explore it now versus exactly what you're saying, which is we're already all about to get completely slammed, and why would we add something else? But I'm with Steve too, I think before we just write it off, I think we should explore it. I think it's a valiant concept, I have disagreements with it for a number of reasons. I don't want to dive into it. That was not the point of my question, but I think it would be wise to look into it further, but I don't think we should be trying to rush this through given the current budget environment we're in.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right, well, I am happy to talk to John. I think Gabe maybe offered to put some time into it, but maybe we can come together with like a small list of.
Those three people need to be in the committee. Yep.
Great.
All right, anything else, Janet? For an empty agenda, we're covering a lot of ground tonight.
Tell me about who you hired.
Oh, that's at the end of mine.
Okay.
I've given you an email from Barbara Calamo thanking the town office for facilitating the IAP curbing efforts, and the 2 Schnur cottages, people moved in December 12th.
A note on that email is that she neglected to add, she noted afterwards, Barry Waring, to the list of people that she wanted to thank afterwards, who was very helpful through the whole process as well. So,
Great.
his name should be there.
I've given you December 15th Bangor Daily News article that Doug Weldon sent to me. This
That
was,
was a great article.
that was great, yeah.
Yeah.
Waldo County delaying the vote on 36% budget
Yep.
increase after hours of public outcry. Another, which I hope you get the chance to read, is this December 16th that Terry forwarded to me, an email from Eric Bush
Yeah.
to the Waldo County councils following up on the same thing. He
Yep.
spoke that night. It was very,
He did a great
Yes.
job.
yeah,
such a
like,
good-
why don't you take this job? Why don't you do it?
I'm gonna pop in super quick. I want to say thank you to Ann Kasuth and her husband James. James works for Northport. They were the ones that stood up and made my statement about how disgruntled I was that they moved the meeting to a time and then didn't allow Zoom participation, and the lack of, find the appropriate word and put it in there. She did a wonderful job, because the email that I sent her, she made me sound very eloquent and very forceful without all of the expletives that were in my email. So I just want to throw that out there, that James and Ann were awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
That's good, thank you. You've got the email from Nathaniel, email to Nathaniel, from the Nathaniel of the DOT, from John King regarding the design of the new ferry. I think he told us about this last time perhaps, but he did mention it last night at the meeting. And then meeting assets, these are Zoom AI notes from the DOT public meeting last night, which are interesting. They're not always 100% accurate, but it is a quick little reference to what went on. So I was going to mention in my report about Keith, Tina's husband passing away. We've received the audit, FY '24 audit that just came in December 10th. And Tom Michaud is remaining with Public Works. I was thinking I had told everybody that already, but not at a meeting. So as Melissa, I sometimes email people things, but it didn't work out with him in the school for whatever reason.
Welcome back,
So
Tom.
welcome back, Tom. Then he was out for a few days because he was sick and then his mom passed.
Oh, no.
So she was bored.
Everybody is dying.
Tom Michaud?
Yeah. He's been working for Public Works a year and a half.
Sorry.
Goes down the village, sort of across from Derby Road.
Okay.
That's a really good way.
Just
That's a really good way.
out of order here, but in support of what Melissa was saying. We're the third largest contributor to the county budget, and they have a meeting that's at 6 o'clock in the evening, and we're not allowed to Zoom into it.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Right.
That's absurd.
Check to them will be somehow delayed as well.
Well, we only pay that the very last minute. Like, that's why they need cans for all, I'm sure a lot of towns. Pretty well.
Any other questions for Janet?
Oh, no, I don't
Okay.
Oh, I should say, I'm sorry. Melissa was here today and very helpful to us. She was just answering the phone and we did a lot of research, or she did a lot of research on topics. So thank you. You may come again tomorrow. if you like. So, yeah, thank you.
Right. No old business, no new
Yes, I have all
business.
this. Sorry.
Let's put it on the agenda.
Oh, well, I didn't know you had to.
Yep.
Just want to make sure the tree trimming equipment research is moving forward.
Well, Dave has found one and it's, there's a brand new one. It's about 55,000.
Okay.
There was a used one, a 2024, which turned out it was more. But because you don't get a municipal government discount on used, so the brand new one is cheaper than the.
The one item that I think, regardless of the budget restraints, should be put in there because it is the singular most important thing to the town people from who have trucks and, we got the workforce. And I think it'll illustrate that we've listened and, if you amortize that over X amount of years, it's not that much. And I think, and it gives the jury and the whoever's on this team the equipment they need to be able to satisfy the community. So I think that's an important feature.
It will be right in your budget.
Okay. Done.
Oh,
I
okay.
got more. No, just kidding. I know. Take care.
No appointments tonight and I have no further comments. Pete?
I'm sorry. I need to check our engineer.
No, I want to just reiterate the Pendleton loss. I was so surprised it just impacted me.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm so sad for the family. Wish them the best. That's all. Click.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
You wish you could do it.
Robbie,
No.
your phone.
No.
Say now I've
Do you
done
want
something,
to
but.
sign up to do a
Well,
meal
well,
delivery? or do you
next
want
time-
to-
She must be
I did.